Welcome to your 2 a.m. debates. Tonight, some of the world's most asked questions will finally be answered as two special guests battle it out until one reigns superior. You better get ready, because this is serious. And now it's time to meet your host and tonight's moderator, Jenna Hernandez.
Hello and welcome to tonight's episode of the 2 a.m. debates. We will be debating one of my favorite questions, and honestly, the first question I ever thought of that kind of started off this whole concept: is cereal a soup? Now, I think a lot of people have different opinions about this. Some people say yes, some people say no, obviously. Some people say maybe. I've also heard some very strange ways that people make their cereal in the morning that you will just not believe ever. Even if I told you, I don't think anyone would ever believe it at all. So tonight we have two people here today returning. We have Isaac. Want to say some few words?
Hey.
And we have Victoria.
Hello.
Right. So Isaac is debating on the side of cereal is not soup.
Yes, cereal is cereal. It's not soup.
Much like last episode when you debated that a hot dog is not a sandwich.
All right, it's a hot dog.
Just, do you have any imagination at all?
Yeah, I have imagination. That's why these things were created, because they were like, you know what? We can create outside the norm. Let's create something different. And then they created a hot dog, or they created a cereal, you know? But yeah.
Mm-hmm. And Victoria is debating on the side of yes, cereal is a soup. Victoria, why do you feel cereal is a soup? Like, what is the main purpose of that in a sentence?
Because I feel it in my heart, but I also brought facts to back it up. So cereal is a soup.
I got facts too. Don't worry. Yeah, it's going to be good.
All right, well, let's get right into this debate. Victoria, if you would like to start on the side, explain to us a little bit of why is cereal a soup?
Okay, I couldn't memorize this. A soup is a liquid food, especially with meat, fish, or vegetable stock as a base, often containing pieces of solid food. A bowl of cereal, your classic bowl of cereal. Mm-hmm. You put the cereal in the bowl, and then you put the milk in the bowl. It is a bowl of liquid with things in it, and it's all edible.
What were those
soup.
things?
It said especially, not only, especially.
Especially what?
Meat and other vegetables and things.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm. Right. And cereal's mostly a grain. Mm-hmm. Right. And my thing is that take away the milk, cereal's still cereal, right?
Right, but if you have soup and you take away the liquid, all you've got is a bowl of vegetables.
Right, but then that's not soup.
Exactly.
Right.
A bowl of cereal is a soup.
No, it's still cereal.
No, I think it's still cereal. However, it can be a soup. It constitutes as a soup.
What makes it constitute as a soup?
Just like I said, it's a bowl of liquid with things in it.
Okay. So a bowl of liquid that has things in it. So can we call fettuccine Alfredo a soup?
Yes. If there's enough of the liquid, which in this case would be the cheese.
I think a lot. No, I don't think fettuccine Alfredo is a soup. I think that's a pasta. Then we can start calling spaghetti like a soup.
If there's enough of the meat sauce, then I would call it a soup.
But then it's not sauce. But then it starts to add what type of liquid is it? What type of liquid then makes a soup? Because then this is what I would say what makes a soup is broth. That's what makes a soup is broth. And broth is a liquid, whether it be beef, chicken, or just plain water itself. If the broth or even like chowder, like it has like milk in it, I think that's a certain type of soup. I think like that's where soup kind of gets classified under is soup that's predominantly either beef, chicken, or water stock, and then the other side of soup is chowders, and those are more of like a cream-based, thicker stock. But then, well, what about when you start to say like something like chili? Like this is where it starts to come into the question.
So I'd say chili borders between soup and stew. I'd say chili is its own thing. You could call it that. However, it could
So what's a stew?
Go under either category. A stew is like a soup, but thicker.
But thicker.
Thicker.
How so? Like, what do you mean by thicker?
So to make a stew thicker, you can start with a soup base, but you can add thickening agents like flour or cornmeal or cornstarch.
But we just said that though with chowders though. Aren't chowders a soup?
Yes. I don't know how chowder is made, but chowder is a thicker version of soup.
They're made with milk, and then they can also be made with cornstarch and flour to be added as well to make them thicker. So would you, like how you said, classify that as a stew?
I would call it a soup. However, I haven't done the research on chowder, so I can't make a definitive decision on that.
And then here's another thing what I would say, like what makes soup is soup. Soup, right, when we're talking, like I said, most important probably part of it is probably the broth. Yes, the toppings are a very big part of it too. I'd say it's a big 50-50. That's the thing with the soup. And predominantly cereal, it's not about so much the milk. The milk is an accent to like for the cereal. It's more of like an 80-20 like flavor profile when you look at cereal. And then what is cereal like normally? It's what? Normally like a sugar base. It's normally like a sweet and savory. Where do you put soup under? It's more of a salty and savory. Like that's where it's more like classified under.
There are cereals that aren't sugary though.
Right. They aren't sugary, but what? They're not salty either, are they?
No, they're only like healthy cereals.
And there are soups that are sweet as well.
Right, but they mostly have a salty, like kind of savory bit to it.
Mostly, but not always.
Right. But with cereal, you would never really see a salty cereal.
Can I try and blow your mind right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so you know Rice Krispies, like the cereal?
Yes.
You know the ones that come without any sugar. It's just the rice puffs, right?
Yeah, love them.
Okay, do you know porridge?
Mm-hmm.
It's a rice base with cream and other elements to make porridge.
Right.
So if you had a bowl of Rice Krispies unflavored and you put milk in it,
Yeah.
wouldn't that be similar to porridge?
I mean, yeah, you could say that.
Porridge is a type of soup.
But porridge is not a type of soup. Porridge is porridge.
It's a type of soup.
Right, but then why couldn't that be classified as a stew? And what's the difference between a stew and a soup? Like you said stew is thicker. So why isn't the oatmeal a stew all of a sudden?
Do I have permission to Google it, Jenna?
I'm trying to look up things.
Right.
I want the facts for you. I know. See, it's another thing I know in my soul. It's soup and stew are different because they're two different things that exist.
Stew is normally like what you would see as like a pot roast, like right, but it would have more of like a broth or like a
beef
liquid.
stew, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. But then you would cover it more, and then sure, you could call it beef soup, because right, it starts to become broth and topping. Where it's stew, it's more topping than I would say broth. That's where I would say the difference between those are.
Okay, I did look it up. So the difference between stew and soup is actually stew is slowly cooked over an extended period of time, and
Right.
soup is not.
Right.
Okay.
Soup can be cooked over an extended period of time, like.
But that's like predominantly how you make stew. It can only be cooked over an extended period amount of time.
Right. I get that. But then what about like ramen? Like ramen takes like 14 hours.
So here's the thing though, and this is a separate debate that I have with people.
Yeah, right. And
is ramen soup?
Yes.
I want to say yes again, but it's all about classifications under things. I also want to say that's also another class of soup. Again, like chowders, it's ramen. I would say that's like an Asian style of soup that's made. However, cereal is cereal. Like it's whether I take away the milk, it's still cereal, right?
But that doesn't make sense because a bowl
Why?
of cereal is the soup. Like
No,
classic
a bowl of cereal. I don't drink milk, to be honest with you.
Neither do I.
Right.
Neither do
Right. So how do you eat your cereal?
I eat my cereal dry.
Same. It's still cereal, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the bowl of cereal with the milk.
Right. But that's still just cereal.
You gotta separate the situation from the facts.
And
separate like my style of eating cereal from the facts. I think people who
Right.
eat cereal with milk in their cereal, it can be considered a soup. I'll tell you something else crazy.
Yeah.
Is that I know somebody who, like Jenna was saying, does crazy things, eats their cereal with orange juice.
Yeah, I mean, I can kind of get that.
Like puts it in the bowl,
Yes.
and then
Yes.
And then here's another thing why I would also say it's not predominantly soup. Like, particularly cereal's classified under as breakfast. Like, the soup is particularly under as lunch and dinner. You wouldn't I mean, you can have soup as breakfast, but like you can have like cereal as lunch and dinner. But the thing is, though, is that what is it marketed as, and what is it put together as?
Isaac, I'm ready. I came with a list of breakfast soups.
Breakfast soups?
Yes. Hang on.
Okay.
Swedish blueberry soup. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. Colombian breakfast soup. I can't pronounce it. Changua.
We're so sorry,
kinda
Columbia. Oh.
Oh yeah, and I think the Japanese, don't they have like a tomato and like egg based kind of soup?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Chinese, they have congee. It's just another rice porridge, which is also a soup you have
But see,
for
that's
breakfast.
a porridge, right? That's not a soup though.
Porridge can be a type of soup.
But chili is not like I would say like chili is like this weird middle ground. You know, it's like people can treat it like soup, but honestly, they shouldn't. They should treat chili like chili, you know, because again, it's not so much of a broth, it's more so of a sauce.
I do kind of agree with that in the sense of like chili, I don't feel like has enough liquid in the bowl for me to think of it as soup.
I call chili more of a stew.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
See, it'd be
It's
more of a
stew.
Right, it'd be more of a stew. But then I still don't understand the reasoning and like how you would say, okay, a porridge, right, can be considered. What'd you say, like soup?
A soup.
Right, but right, we said it could be a stew because the stew was thicker. Right, so
It all depends on how it's prepared, because I will say regular porridge, from what I remember, what I understand is that it is cooked in a bowl over a long period of time like a stew. It's rice and other ingredients and liquid. But congee in particular, and then another way you can serve rice porridge is that you pour stock over it or broth, making it more of a soup in that case. Because even if you add the liquid afterwards, it's going to end up being more liquidy in the end.
But again, anything with liquid can't be considered like soup. Like
Almost anything can.
Right, but you said fettuccine alfredo is a soup. I don't
could
think.
be.
No, it's not a soup.
You could make it a soup.
No, you cannot make it a soup. No, it would be gross. No, you can make it more maybe like a chowder, I guess, like a fettuccine chowder.
Noodles
I
are
think that'd be
noodles.
weird.
But you're saying chowder is a soup.
Yes, chowder
It's
is
a rich soup.
Yes,
Rich.
right.
Yeah, so rich
Yeah.
soup.
Right, I
So
get that.
fettuccine alfredo kind of could be a soup then. I mean, I guess if you put like more of a water or just more of the sauce in
Yeah,
it
if you
to
put a
make
lot
it-
of cream around it, yeah.
But again, the thing is though is that it's more so with the liquid or like the sauce. Like you would, if you would like consider it a chowder, basically you would have to like drown the noodles in that sauce and then eat it as is with little noodle. That's how it would be a soup.
But that kind of is like what chicken noodle soup is.
Yes,
You're just drowning
exactly.
the pasta
Yeah.
in
Yeah.
chicken broth.
Yeah, no, I get that. Right. But most people don't want to eat fettuccine alfredo like, like that.
Well,
Like-
we're not talking about most people.
Right.
We're talking about like the rule. And I think the thing to focus on is that soup and stew are both categories. And I think that a bowl of cereal, a classic bowl of cereal, can fall under the soup category. Like it can be categorized as a soup.
I don't think so. Because then, like, okay.
Do you feel like it has the potential to fall under a category?
Of
Like
soup?
if you looked
No.
at cereal as like a student, if you were a teacher, do you feel like it has potential?
No, because again, I don't drink milk. Cereal is still cereal without the milk. And again, cereal is more of a sweet base, breakfast base, and a grain base. Like it tells me, like when I hear the word cereal, I'm thinking of the grain. I'm not going to think of milk, to be honest with you. Like, and that's why I'm like, cereal's not soup. Like the milk is like we're arguing like, oh, if we put milk into it, it's all of a sudden a soup. No, like it's not. It's still cereal. You drown your steak in like orange juice. Like you want to call it like a cocktail? Like no, like that's not how it works. Like I hate to say that, but right. Like when you tell me like soup, I'm gonna be like, oh, what's the broth? What's the toppings? What's the meat? Is there noodles? No. Is there vegetables? Like, it's kind of a little more intuitive. If you tell me cereal, it's like, oh, what kind of cereal? The grain part, you know, not like oh, what kind of milk are you using? Almond, or are you using whole? Like, the milk doesn't really matter. It's the accent to the cereal, and that's where I'm like, it becomes a difference of like, okay, what are we talking about? What is a stew, and then what is a soup? And it's like, those are right. If you basically were to, I'd say, cook the milk, and then you were to like put like cinnamon and like kind of like all sorts of things into it, right? Maybe it could be considered like a soup. You know, if you were to cook the cereal like into it, but I don't. Who's makes cereal that you can cook milk into it?
Like oatmeal?
Yeah, that's oatmeal, right?
Oats are a grain.
Right, but then oatmeal, right? The thing is, though, is it's not liquid, though. That's what I'm saying, though.
But it's kind of a soup.
Not really. That oatmeal's oatmeal, right? We do put water, and we do put like milk into it, and it absorbs it, but it absorbs it like a noodle. It's not so much like, I would say, covered in liquid. You know, it's more so like, again, the category of like chili, where it's like the sauce base kind of like. It doesn't make it a soup, and it's not like really the liquid kind of base.
Sort of that in between.
I mean, I guess, but
so I'd say porridge, oatmeal, chili are sort of in their own space in between soup and stew. Is that what you're saying? Because there's a thing called stoop. I saw it in my research, but I didn't dig into it. But it's a thing.
Stoop.
Look it up.
I mean,
Stoop.
I get that. Like, if it's
STOUP.
I would see stoop as just like a really big like I don't know if you ever had like ham soup. Mm-hmm. It's basically just like a big like ham hock with like beans into it, and then they covered it in like liquid and stuff, and you just eat like big chunks of like the ham, and then like the beans in the liquid.
Yeah,
I can see that. Oh, that's like a stoop.
Jenna, I got a question.
Yes.
Are lentils a grain? Because you can make lentil soup.
I thought they were like,
lentils.
Are they a bean?
Are they bean?
I thought they were more of a bean.
Right.
Okay,
I think
all right.
they're more of a bean.
Recanted.
Like that's the thing. Like right, there's lentil soup, but there's no lentil cereal.
There could be.
I could see them making a lentil cereal.
You totally
in like
could
5
flavor
years.
lentils.
Actually, I could see that, or like a sweet potato, or like how they're doing
Sweet
like
potato
the
cereal.
different alternatives.
Yeah, because I know like I eat pasta made out of lentils.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Then again, it's a grain replacement.
Yeah.
But right, pasta. That's okay. There's another one. Thank you. Like right, pasta. When you tell me, hey, like we're having pasta tonight, that tells me like again, it's a grain-based dish, right? Like that tells me like, okay, well, what kind of pasta? Fettuccine, spaghetti, angel hair, eggshell, right? Whatever. And it's the same thing with cereal. When you tell me cereal, I'm like, oh, what kind of cereal? It's the grain base, Raisin Bran, like Trix are for kids, whatever, like
Cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
yeah, cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You know what I'm saying? Like it's chocolate. Who the heck is gonna have a chocolate soup?
Chocolate mousse.
That's a mousse.
It's close though.
No, it's not.
It's close though. Pudding.
No.
Pudding.
Pudding's pudding.
Hot chocolate.
No, that's a drink.
You can still drink soup.
Right. But soup is more of like a nourishment based. Again, a hot chocolate.
Chocolate can be good for you if you cook it right.
Yes, chocolate can be like okay for you, but it's not like something that's like.
There are European countries that make very, very thick, and Jamaica too, very, very thick hot chocolate, which could be, to the untrained eye, considered a soup.
Right. But I mean, like, are you gonna throw in like some chicken into that hot chocolate?
You could, because
soon,
there's a Mexican dish with chocolate and chicken in it.
I believe that. Like, chocolate can definitely be like a cooking, but I'm just saying like hot chocolate's not a soup. Hot chocolate's a drink. Hot chocolate's hot chocolate.
But you can make it a soup. That's the whole point. Anything can be a soup if you try hard enough.
I guess you can. Again, right. You can make anything a soup. Doesn't mean it shouldn't be, and it's like, and it is. But that's why I'm like, I don't think cereal is a soup. Cereal is cereal. You know, like again, take away the milk, it's still cereal at the end of the day. You know, and then like if I take away the cereal, it's got a bowl of milk, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, meditate with me for a second. Like, get out of your regular, like,
with soup, I
notion
take out
of
the
cereal.
toppings. Or stew, I take out the toppings. What is it? It's still soup.
Well, let go
still
of
toppings.
your regular notion of cereal for a second, because Jenna brought up something, like, a while ago, which, I mean, technically anything could be cereal if you, like,
Right.
make it into a cereal.
Right.
Picture, like, sweet potato flavored cereal,
Yeah.
like you said, in a different flavored milk, maybe like almond milk
Sure.
or like chocolate milk.
Sure.
Yeah. Or maybe, if you're going a little crazy, heavy cream.
Right. I get that.
Yeah. Sweet potato puffs and heavy cream.
Okay.
I'm sure there are people that put half and half in their cereal.
Yeah,
Half and
I-
half.
I
Exactly.
can guarantee
Right,
if
I
you put
believe
half
that.
and half in your cereal, please reach out to us. I would love to talk to you.
I bet all people have tried all these things, you know? Yeah, for sure. But, okay.
It doesn't sound as much like a cereal, even though technically it would be because the sweet potato is cereal.
Right.
But those two ingredients together are not part of your typical cereal meal.
no.
And I
but
think it may be easier to picture those as being a soup.
Right, but now it's still cereal. It's not soup, though.
But you turned it into a soup. All the
No,
ingredients
you turned
separately.
it into a cereal.
All the ingredients separately are not a soup, but when you put things together, that's when they become a soup. That's how you make any soup that you can think of. Nothing starts as soup. You always put things together and then they turn into soup.
And here's another thing, too. You cook soup, right?
You don't have to.
What soup do you know that you don't cook?
They make
Gazpacho.
Gazpacho? What's gazpacho?
I think,
It's a chilled soup.
yeah, it's served cold.
Right,
I can't
but
remember
how
if
do
they
you-
cook it or
or how
not,
do you
but
cook
it's
it?
served cold.
Or how do you make it?
I don't know.
You have to boil the liquid, right?
I don't think you do.
Probably not.
Look it
but
up,
I
look
know,
it
like,
up.
right, like
I know there's,
cucumber
like,
soup, right? But
fish
you
in
have to
it.
to strain it all out,
Right, but you don't have to cook it. That's not cooking.
I think it is like, and that's why I'm like, I think like, right, you have to put like some kind of salt or like lemon zest. It may not be like the heat kind of type of
Like
cooking.
ceviche.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You know, like it may not be like that kind of
That
type.
is cooking, yeah.
Right, but that's cooking, right? Cereal, it's not cooking.
Well, you cook the cereal before they give it to
No, you
you
don't.
in the box, yeah.
Yeah, they give it to you in the box, but
But they have to cook it to get it that way. Like you gotta bake it.
That is true.
but then that starts to become of like essentially like bread. Mm-hmm. You know, or like pasta. It's one of those things where it starts to become like, okay, you know what? You're kind of right because it is cooked, but it's one of those things. It's like it's not cooked twice. You
Like
know
if
what
I
I'm saying?
bought like store bought pasta and
Then you got to cook it again.
not necessarily. What if I buy it like ready made? Like what if I buy a pasta salad from the store and then I just put it together with my other stuff?
Right. But it was, again, like you said, it was cooked twice.
I mean, not if they cooked it once, like at the store.
Just once is
Yeah, if I go to
the
Publix-
hard is the hard pasta itself.
Yeah, just
that's,
once.
That's just once.
Yeah, but pasta salad is eaten cold.
Right, but that pasta was cooked twice.
Once, if you made it at the store.
No, it was made into pasta.
yeah, you have to make the pasta, and then it has to get hard, and then
Yeah.
you have to
Boil it.
it.
Oh,
it's-
really?
Yeah, it's like bread. That's what I'm
LOL,
saying.
sorry.
Like you gotta like make the bread like dough, literally cook it to make it into a bread, and then you cook the bread again to make like better bread or
With
like
toast or something?
Yeah. Or,
Yeah. But I mean, bread
you know.
bread only has to be cooked once, technically, to eat it.
Technically, but most of the time people always cook it like twice.
Pasta only has to be cooked once.
To eat it.
for
Yeah,
me to
that's what I'm
technically
saying.
eat it, 'cause
Yeah,
I remember
yeah.
as a kid eating a lot of just dry pasta at my
There
grandmother's
you
house.
go. Yeah, you ever eaten dry ramen?
No.
I don't think it's
That's
good.
a wild ride.
don't
It
think
is
it's-
not good for you.
I don't think it's good
It
for
is
you.
not.
Right. Yeah.
Well, ramen freaks me out. And ramen freaks me out a little bit, and this was actually something that Christian brought up to me last year, of like ramen. People use ramen to repair drywall. Should that be going in your system?
No.
no.
Same
not
thing,
at
like,
all.
and I think this is what he brought up, and he's here with us today.
Damn, I was just waiting for y'all to just let me jump in somewhere. I'm glad that you plugged me in.
Christian's
but yeah.
working as our audio engineer today. But you brought up the fact that Coca-Cola can remove
you
rust
Yeah.
off of car engines.
So when you're about to clean your battery and stuff, they tell you not to put water on it. You just open up a Coke and just pour it on your battery, and for some strange reason, your car battery won't explode. But that's because of the acidness, but that's still crazy that we drink that on a daily basis.
like then should we really be consuming something that does that?
No. But is it going to stop us?
Do you know what I would say to
Absolutely
that?
not.
Is that like it's sad because the thing is it's only like that here in America.
Yeah.
You know, like when they say like, "Oh, get Mexican Coke. It's so much better." Why is Mexico Coke
They
better?
just use sugar instead of the corn syrup.
right.
Yeah,
It's cane sugar. Well,
Yeah.
They do
why
that
is
in a
that?
lot of other
Yeah.
countries.
Why is that better? Oh, it's Coke Mexico.
Yeah.
Like okay.
Because cane sugar is more expensive because it's
La
all natural.
Coca-Cola. It's La Coca-Cola.
La Coca. Right. I get
I don't
it.
think that's actually what's on it.
Right, I don't think so. I think it is Coke Mexico. Right. Why is that? And then like there's only like certain times in a month where obviously for like Jewish holidays they put out like Coke kosher.
Yeah.
And that's made with like a little gold like label on it, like gold writing. And what is that? It's cane sugar as well. But why do we get these? You know, why is this not the norm? Like that's why like I get so mad with like America, like when like this stuff is like, you know,
See,
irregular.
I also thought about that earlier because I think that like America thinking that cereal is one strictly a breakfast food and two can't be soup is an American ideal because like the soups I listed before are like from other countries like breakfast soup is a normal thing in other places. Like
Right.
Colombia specifically, breakfast is usually really heavy and really hearty there. Like we don't
Yeah.
usually have like steak for breakfast, but
Yeah, I get
they
that.
do.
Well, a lot of
Right.
Spanish countries do that.
Yeah.
It's like their breakfast is like meat. Like they eat steaks
Right.
for breakfast, and then they also have dinner at like 9 p.m.
Right.
Right. And I feel like if it wasn't marketed to us that way, I feel like it would be easier for people to accept that cereal could be a soup.
No, it's not like that. Because the thing is, it's not like it's marketed that way. It's like you said, these things are from all these other countries, right? You're like, oh, you know, we got soup from all these other places, and it's like, yeah, because those are all soups. But then, like, right, like look at like sausage. You know, like that's obviously something from Germany. That's a sausage. That's a sausage here.
Yeah.
You know, right. I mean, like pasta is the same here and there. You know what I'm saying? Cereal is going to be the same here and there.
But
it's
is it,
not
though?
soup. It is.
Is it though?
It is, especially in like Canada. I know that. Because they're not allowed to sell Honey Nut Cheerios actually at all. Well, actually they are allowed to sell it, but because it's marketed as healthy, which it totally is not.
No.
They have to like duct tape like the heart
Damn.
healthy part.
It's not healthy. It says it lowers cholesterol, which I do believe.
No,
Yeah.
it does not actually.
But,
Apparently,
okay,
it's banned in 19 countries.
Damn.
Wow.
I know.
General
Dude,
Mills.
That's
it blew
terrible.
my mind. Yeah.
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Like, why do we like allow this? And we're supposed to be number one.
To be fair, though, I will say the U.S., especially taking advertising classes, the U.S. falls for a lot of advertising schemes that
Oh, yeah.
have been just produced
Yeah.
in general.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, the advertising scheme is when you see a cereal commercial, they say part of a balanced breakfast.
They do
It
say
doesn't
part of a balanced
have
breakfast.
to be part of a balanced breakfast. Could be part of your balanced dinner. But apparently, it's not even balanced at all because it's bad for you anyway.
Right.
That is true. When I see part of a balanced breakfast after the Cookie Crisp commercial,
I'm like, damn.
I don't believe that.
But when I was a kid, I was like, I'm so smart. I'm eating cookies for breakfast.
Right.
It's a life hack.
Right. Not gonna lie. Yeah. I loved what was it?
My favorite.
Apple Jacks, yeah. That was
I
the
love
word.
Apple Jacks are so
Yeah,
good.
those were like one of my favorites.
I
Apple
remember-
Jacks.
yeah.
I used to eat those for long car rides. My mom would bring us the little boxes.
Right. See, but again, eat them dry. They're great.
Yeah,
They're
I used-
honestly better dry.
I used to eat corn pops.
Corn
You know
pops?
what? Yeah, the ones that like get stuck together.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Corn pops, honeycombs. I love
Yes.
honeycomb.
I love honeycombs.
Right, just because it was like a big box, you know.
Yeah. You know what I hated?
What?
Frankenberry. I feel like it was a lie.
I never had it, and I never believed in it.
I had it once. I think I was lied to.
Honestly, I can kind of back that because I'm like, I don't really care for like Lucky Charms.
I don't care for Lucky Charms. I feel Lucky Charms are very overrated.
Right.
Yeah.
I think they are too.
It was like as a kid, you just want the marshmallows and you like hated just the bland cereal. And you're like, this is all sucks. And then like when you get like a little older, like there's no like gray like in the middle, but like it's like you then go from like, oh, I just want the marshmallows to then like, holy shit, these marshmallows are so sugary and they kind of just suck.
Yeah.
Like, you know?
You just need to get a thing of freeze-dried marshmallows, and then you'll have Lucky Charms.
That's true.
You know what I love? Kellogg's Special K cereal, the strawberry flavor with the freeze-dried strawberries in it.
I like that
Yeah.
flavor.
So good.
So I don't like the strawberries, though. I take them out.
So here's another question actually I got for you to go back to this of like what is considered soup?
Yeah.
Like would you consider it ice cream soup?
Okay, this is
that's-
another thing.
That's a philosophical question. Like, how
Yes.
far does ice cream have to melt before it's considered a soup?
Yes. I think when it gets to the point where you can like stick your spoon into it and you don't have to like force a piece out like too heavily, when you can stick your spoon in it, pick your spoon up without actually like putting too much effort into it and get a piece off, that's when it's soup.
What about whipped cream?
I think when whipped cream gets to it's always to the point where you can like stick a spoon in it and pick it up.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a soup though because it is just the cream.
Well, what if you just put strawberries into it? It's all of a sudden a soup, right?
If it gets a little more melty, then yes, it would be a soup. Or if you stir it, it would be a soup.
Okay. What about butter then?
What about butter? Just butter?
Yeah, you can put butter.
Just butter?
Yeah, put butter and then like I don't know, put some parsley flakes in there. Would you call that a soup? I think I'd call that compound butter.
I think I'd call that a heart attack.
Right, but like, I mean, we're just saying anything liquid, right? Like anything with toppings into it, like it's soup, right?
It's compound butter at that point. Once it congeals back up, like once it hardens
solidifies,
back up. But once it's liquid, technically, it could be considered a soup.
But I still say it's compound
If you
butter.
want to call, if you feel like, not you specifically, but if you feel like drinking liquid butter, because people eat sticks of butter, but if you feel like drinking liquid butter, then I would do you the liberty of calling that a soup.
No, it's not a soup. It's psychotic.
I feel like I need to make it clear we're not endorsing drinking liquid butter.
I'm endorsing
Please
it.
don't.
Drink liquid
Don't do
butter.
that.
Do it, kids. Do it.
Don't do that. At least don't do it for this. If you want to do that on your own time, that's up to you.
Yeah.
But don't do it because of that.
Please.
Just make sure you put extra salt. Yeah.
I used to melt butter and pour it on popcorn when I was a kid.
That's smart though.
Right.
Yeah, people do that.
All right.
Yeah.
So would you consider that a stew or soup?
Popcorn with butter on it.
Melted butter.
Well, no, because there's not enough butter to make it. The popcorn absorbs the butter. There's not enough butter to make it a soup.
So essentially, it's the liquid. It's how much liquid is in the bowl.
It's the proportion of liquid. Yup. Because if there's no liquid, then it's just cereal. But if you put the milk in it, then it's a bowl of cereal, which is a soup. Exactly.
So it does kind of come back to that philosophical question. Like, truly, how far does ice cream have to melt before it becomes a soup?
I don't think it becomes a soup. It's just melted ice cream. Because then when you put it back in the freezer, it becomes ice cream again, right?
Do you eat the melted part, or do you just leave it in the bowl?
Sometimes I eat it. Yeah.
If it's good, yeah.
Yeah. You know, if it's just a big bowl of liquid, no, just throw it out.
Here's the thing, though, but you can just throw it back in the freezer.
Right.
It would harden back up, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
And
Unless
just
I'm
become
like,
ice cream again.
unless I'm like
Right.
out at the park or something, then I wouldn't need it anyway because I'm just going to toss it. But
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like
Yeah.
at the park, yeah. But like obviously, like if it's like I just poured myself so much and then I just ate like 2 bites and I was like, what was I doing?
Put it back in the freezer.
Yeah, I put it back in the freezer. Yeah.
it freezes back up.
Right.
Would you consider a milkshake?
But here's the thing with
Yes.
cereal. Okay, here's a good one. Cereal, because you can't store it once you put the milk into it, right?
I think you can.
I disagree.
No.
Oh, I have a cereal cup, and I think you both have seen it.
Right, but then like
Oh.
once you mix it, but the thing is what I'm saying is once the cereal touches the milk, that's sad. You got to eat it right there, right?
I
well,
mean,
not
You
necessarily.
can't store it, is what I'm saying.
it depends what kind of cereal it is.
Yeah.
Because you can't if you have frosted mini wheats, no, because it's just gonna keep
I'm
absorbing
saying
the
you
milk.
literally took the cereal, you threw it in a bowl of milk, and then you ate some of it, and you were like, I can't eat all of it. You can't just like put it in the freezer or in the fridge and like I'm gonna eat it in 2 days.
Well, you know what that happens
You know
to
what I'm
me
saying?
all the time with?
What?
Pho. Like pho soup. If you put the vermicelli noodles in the liquid.
Because soup does that.
But
Soup you can store. That's
no,
what I'm
you
saying.
can't, because if you put vermicelli noodles, the rice noodles, in the pho broth, they get all like soft and soggy, and you can't put them in the fridge because they won't come back
Well,
out
aren't
right.
they like on the side, but it's still like the pho's got the meat and it's got like your
yeah,
veggies.
unless you put the noodles, like once you put the noodles in the broth, once the noodles get wet, you can't store them.
Right, see, but that's what I'm saying. It's like
Yeah.
those aren't really part of the soup. Like it's like
It
the
is.
whole.
It's what makes
It is.
the soup.
Eh,
Yeah.
I want to say what makes the
It's
soup,
what makes it a soup, because if not, then
No.
it's just broth.
which is also a soup.
Broth alone is not soup.
But you just said, you just said though that a bowl of milk is considered a soup.
Did I?
You
Yeah.
did, yes.
Damn. All right. I'm making an executive
And I'm
decision.
sorry, but a bowl of broth is considered
I'm
soup.
making an executive decision here. A bowl of broth is soup. I'm changing my mind. It is soup. But I think the noodles in it is what helps make it a soup.
All right. You can make my point here.
Nuh-uh.
You know what I'm saying?
Nope.
All right.
I refuse.
Because the thing is, though, is just right. Like again, you can't store cereal for like 3 days in your fridge. Soup you can store like pretty much like a week, like a month in your.
There has to be a cereal that won't do anything.
Yeah.
Pull it up right now of like cereal that touches liquid.
Wheat Thins.
And you can store it for
Wheat Thins,
multiple
stay
days.
hard and cut your mouth forever.
Yo, wheat thin, stay hard. You know, right? David Goggins, you know, he just trains on wheat thins and Powerade. Mm-hmm. Actually, no, he would probably slap Powerade. He'd be like, I just drink my own sweat.
Yeah. I think my whole point of saying that, though, is that, like, cereal, once it touches the liquid, generally you can't store it.
Right. And it's not-
Rice noodles, once they touch the liquid, generally you can't store it.
Oh, wait, I got one. So Kellogg's Raisin Bran never gets soggy.
Oh.
Raisin Bran.
It says Kellogg's Raisin Bran.
That's a lie.
one of the most
doesn't
resilient
get
cereals
soggy.
on
I've
the
had
planet.
Raisin Bran, and I've seen people have had it in their cereal, and I've washed bowls of cereal with Raisin Bran in it,
It's
and that
soggy?
shit gets soggy.
Well, then this comes straight from the Kellogg's website, so then you're lying to us, Kellogg's.
I'm not lying. Kellogg's is lying.
I'm not saying you're lying. I'm
She's
saying
like,
that Kellogg's is lying.
She's calling
to us.
them out.
Oh,
She's
okay,
calling them
thank
out
you.
and telling them they need to come
Okay.
on the podcast.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, they
Yeah.
do. They
No
explain
offense,
themselves.
Kellogg's, but I do prefer General Mills anyway.
Actually, all the offense.
Oh,
like,
damn.
right.
Ooh, but I do like Kellogg's cereal.
What are
wants
you
to
putting in
smoke.
our cereal that is making it not soggy? Like that's not natural.
So what is what is that? Grape nuts? Grape nuts
Oh my
doesn't really
God.
get soggy either.
But it does actually. I love grape
Does
nuts.
it?
Yeah.
No, it doesn't.
I love grape nuts.
You like grape nuts?
I do. Yeah, I really do. I love them because it's the crunchiness. Again, I eat my cereal dry, and for some reason, I just love like the dry crunch.
It's
that
like
like
eating
grape nuts.
pebbles.
I know.
Like gravel.
I know. My girlfriend hates it. She's like, "Oh my God, you're eating dog food." I love it though, and I get it because my mom always had it, and I'm not gonna lie, same thing. It gets soggy. Like I'm not gonna lie, after like 3 hours, you know. It may not. It's probably saying they don't get soggy after a certain period of time.
Okay.
Like, because it's like, look, after like an hour, like. If it's a grain, it should be soaking up the water, and it's pretty much done. You know, you wouldn't like throw bread, you know, into like something and then like eat it, you know, into liquid and then eat
you would
it.
though.
Like what? What would you throw bread into? Eat that's in
Bread
liquid.
pudding, and then also grilled cheese
But-
and tomato soup.
But see, pudding's not a liquid; it's a gelatin.
No, bread pudding.
Right.
That's the bread, like a cake or bread, and then you put liquid over it. That makes it bread pudding.
No, what I'm saying though is that like where there's like it's like bread surrounded by liquid. You know
That's
what I'm
bread
saying?
pudding, yeah. You put the bread in the pan, and then you put the liquid on top of it, and then you bake it.
No, I'm saying like if you put like a bowl of water and then you would put like a little piece of
The bread
bread
in it?
there. Like that's what I'm saying. Like
Okay.
right, like that's like a glaze and like just something like that.
No,
you
it's
know?
not a glaze. It's like the whole you'd have to look it up how you make it, but it's not a glaze. It's like you pour liquid deliberately into the pan and then
Right.
you bake it with the liquid and the bread in the pan.
Right, and I've seen it, and it gets like a little soggy, you know.
Very
and it's-
soggy. I hate bread pudding.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's not like it's pretty good. Yeah, it's more of like a very soggy bread, but right, it's not like how I say it, surrounded in liquid. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like
You submerge the bread in liquid.
Is it
So I
drizzled
have-
on?
No,
Yeah, like, I don't know how to
no,
describe
it's not
it.
drizzled. It's like,
bread pudding I've had is like more again, it's like a custard.
yeah, you submerge the bread in
Right.
liquid.
Like that's how I make like my French toast. Like I submerge them in a custard.
Like French toast, yeah. But
I
you
submerge-
cook French toast.
Right.
Yeah.
But like those, like if you didn't know, you have to have like a certain pro tip if you guys actually want to cook some greatest French toast of your life is you make it like a custard. So it's 2 cups of heavy cream with like 4 eggs, and you put some like orange zest and nutmeg and cinnamon in it with like some brandy or whatever like you got, and like you kind of like put like an emulsion on it. And I like challah bread. Challah bread is like very, very dense like kind of bread. If you have something that's like light and airy like sourdough or something, it wouldn't really work well. Use something more like challah bread. Get like 2 inches, and you have to submerge that sucker for at least like 15 20 minutes. Like if you just dunk it and like take it out, it's not going to get the flavor, you know.
You should play back that recipe for the people at home so they can write it down.
They can play back the recipe.
You should
Yeah.
do them the service of playing it back so they can write it down.
Maybe.
That was crucial stuff.
Maybe
Yeah.
when I listen to this, I'll write it down and put it in the description if you would like.
Oh yeah, that's great. But the biggest tip to take out of all this is submerge your bread for 15 to 20 minutes, depending on the type of bread that you have.
Well, is a biscotti? I mean, it's a biscuit, but
Right?
I was gonna
It's
say
made from bread. It's a biscuit.
Tiramisu, you submerge.
tiramisu.
But that's
the
tiramisu,
biscotti,
yeah,
right?
with the
that's,
lady
that's
fingers.
telling us in a certain way that it's made. Again, that's what I'm saying. All of these ways that are like cooked and like done in culinary, they're all classified in a way that's telling us how it's made. That's why cereal is not soup. It's not something that we can store later for lunch or dinner, or like it's not like a big main meal. It's more of a breakfast, kind of quick on the go thing. Like that's what it's kind of made for. It's not considered a soup.
But-
And then what did we just say earlier? With we were just talking about earlier.
But here's the thing. So like you
gonna
mentioned that like
classify
you
that.
can't put cereal, like a bowl of cereal, back in the fridge and then take it out later and continue eating it. But you did say like grape nuts take about 3 hours before they get soggy. So you could.
But that's what I'm
Do
saying.
that with
It's
grape
not
nuts.
something that you store. You
you
know what I
don't-
mean? It's not a storing.
But you could. I'm
Yeah.
sure there are same thing. Like as sure as I am that there are people that put half and half in their cereal. I'm sure there are people that put bowls of cereal back in the fridge.
Yeah.
And take it out and
I
eat
mean,
it
if
later.
you put a bowl of like vegetable
Right.
soup back in the fridge, the vegetables are gonna get all wilted
But-
and soggy over time.
But yeah, what I mean by store is like over a day.
You don't have to be able
Like,
to store
when-
soup for it to be a soup, though.
You don't have to store what?
You don't have to be able to store it. It could still be a soup.
What soup do you know that you do not that you can't store?
Pho, but that's the only one I can think of right now.
Pho. Pho sounds like a soup you can store.
Oh, if you keep the ingredients separate, not if you put them together.
That's almost the same thing like we are saying with ramen.
Yeah, ramen too.
Ramen,
Ramen gets like
is that-
mad soggy after you cook it.
Right. But that's right.
well, that's the
what I'm
point
saying.
of it.
Exactly.
Right. And
if-
but we're saying
yeah.
that's also a type of soup though. You know, that's a very
that doesn't
certain
keep
type of
after you
soup.
cook.
It
Yeah.
does, but I'd
Not
say
well.
it does keep. It does keep, and it does keep past like a day. It's not something, obviously, like everything's got an expiration date, but
Mm-hmm.
like I'd say like it's still good after 3 days. It's not as good as like it was on the very first day, but
Mm-hmm.
it's something that's still good after 3 days. If you have cereal 3 days later when you put it in the fridge,
Yeah.
yeah, you're kind of a psychopath, and like you're drinking it. You're drinking it at that point. Why have a spoon? Just you're slurping little bits of grain through a straw with water. 3 days old cereal. Gross. No.
But I think it's still like it's just a faster expiration date because everything does have an expiration date. It just comes a little bit sooner.
No, it's like those ones that's like ready to eat like now.
Soup can be ready to eat.
Yes, but it can be stored.
I'm gonna go off topic for like 3 seconds. Do you remember that stupid trend that people are doing where they were putting like berries and ice cubes in bowls of coconut milk and calling it nature cereal?
No.
You don't remember that?
No.
Lizzo did it. Kim Kardashian
Bowls of
did
what?
it. Coconut milk with berries and ice cubes in it.
I've never heard of that, but I do believe Kim Kardashian did that.
Yeah.
Right. I can see that.
They were calling it nature cereal.
And then what? Did
Isn't
they
cereal
put cereal?
nature cereal?
Yeah.
Right?
And then what? Did they just put like cereal? Like,
No, they didn't
in
put
it?
anything else in it. They just ate it like that.
They just ate it like that?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, I wouldn't consider it
I
nature.
think they put Lamar Odom's heart in there.
Thank you, Christian.
Wow. I mean, I don't know if that's cereal. If that's just berries and milk.
But that is some cereals.
What is like? What else was it? Sorry, it just sounded like berries and coconut
Yeah.
milk.
And you know
right?
what? Actually, it wasn't coconut milk. It was coconut water
Coconut water.
Coconut
and
water.
and just berries
and ice.
and ice. Yeah,
Yeah.
I just say those like ice cubes. I've seen people
See,
do that for like cocktails and stuff.
That
you know?
to me is, I mean, it is technically cereal. Like there are cereals made purely out of fruit.
Right.
And then
Yeah.
also,
I mean, it
like
can
one
be.
of the people I know, one of the crazy people I know that make their cereal, they put ice cubes in it to make it really cold.
Right.
I get
My
that.
grandma used to drink her milk with ice cubes.
Again, I get that, but right.
Like in theory, I think that's a really dumb idea. Nature cereal. I thought it was stupid when it came up. But I have to say, going off the guidelines that I had previously defined for cereal and soup, I could call that a version of cereal. It could be a version of a bowl of cereal. But also, I wouldn't call the ingredients themselves cereal because cereal is, like you said, particularly grains. But I do think that is a smidge closer to a soup because the ingredients are all organic as well. Like, not organic, but I mean, like, you know, fresh, like berries and fruits and stuff.
I guess, but cereal can also be organic and fresh and stuff. Like it can just be basic, wheat grain.
So, in that way, I think they fall under the same category as well, making them both closer to being soups.
Yeah, but I don't know if I would consider that though cereal, to be honest with you. To me, that just kind of sounds like coconut water and
Berries and ice, yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I do kind of feel like anything has the potential to be cereal. Like if you think creatively enough. Like one thing I've noticed doing my own research and asking different people this question is that the people that say like, yes, I feel cereal can be soup are those with a more creative mind. Like they
You know what?
can picture it.
I would consider that cereal. You know what? If those fruits were dehydrated, I'd say like then that's closer to like maybe like a
Being a
cereal.
soup?
Being a cereal. Not a soup. That's still not a soup. No.
I mean, if they're cereal and like, I like freeze-dried strawberries in mine, dehydrated strawberries.
Right.
I think that could be an option for being closer to soup.
I still don't say that's a soup. I say that's closer to cereal. You're on the right track. But I don't think that's considered a soup.
No, I
think
mean
that's
like bran flakes and dehydrated strawberries in milk.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's companies that do that. They put like dehydrated fruit with
Exactly.
like their
I
cereal.
think that's also closer to being a soup.
No, that's still cereal.
All right, I think we are running out of time. I did just get the signal that we got to wrap things up,
Word.
and Christian does want to go home.
Nice.
So we're gonna. So I'm gonna have you two give closing statements.
Okay.
Since Victoria started us off, Isaac, why don't you give your closing statement first?
Yeah, I guess the closing statement is that cereal is not a soup. Again, it's all about the grain. You don't need milk, really. Cereal is still cereal at the end of the day. Where soup, it is about the liquid and the toppings. It's a 50-50 work of both. And I think that's what classifies it as a soup.
All right, Victoria.
Okay, I'm gonna tackle 3 things that I hear people say the most when they say that cereal isn't a soup. I'm gonna start off with it can be eaten at any time of the day, just like any other meal. We have breakfast for dinner, so why can't we consider our breakfast now a soup, which is typically eaten at different times of day. Martha Stewart's website says, quote, "A bowl of breakfast soup is filling, comforting, and healthy and will leave you feeling satisfied until lunchtime." And I don't think anyone is saying they know food better than Martha Stewart in this specific case. My other thing is that cereal is promoted to us as a breakfast food because of the way it's marketed. But in other countries, it's not always the case, and anything can be eaten for breakfast, including soup. So why can't what we eat for breakfast now be considered a soup? Bottom line, get cultured, get creative.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Broth can't be soup.
Okay. Well, I believe that is the end of tonight's debate. Thank you, everyone, so much for listening. If you would like, or you know what, just to help me out, you can go to our Instagram page at the 2am debates and poll who you felt had the better argument and what side you're leaning more towards now that you've listened to this episode, that cereal is not a soup or cereal is in fact a soup. You can also poll on Spotify right after listening to this episode. Well, thank you everyone again for listening. Good morning and good night, depending on when you're listening or watching this.
Good night, everybody.
We'll see you next time.
Night.